So I am Carmel Cefai. I am professor of psychology at the University of Malta. Social-emotional learning is important for a number of reasons, and one of the main, I think, reason is because it makes today's education relevant for the 21st century reality. So society, as we know, has been changing a lot in the structure of communities, families, a lot of movement around communities become more intercultural, and also there are a number of socio-economic issues, and for all these various reasons, education as it was in the past, when we talk about like the Victorian type of education, provides a very, very limited preparation for life. So we need to prepare our children and young people for the challenges of life, for the tests of life, as we say. And the tests of life are not only cognitive in terms of being a productive worker, but they are also socio-emotional. Because we know, for example, nowadays from research that happy people are more productive in the end. So one does not go against the other. So I think it's important, socio-emotional learning is important, therefore, because it makes education more relevant, provides more quality of education, and also because socio-emotional learning promotes academic learning. This may sound contradictory because some teachers would say, well, if we dedicate time to socio-emotional learning, that will take away precious time from academic learning. But in fact, heart and head, socio-emotional learning, may sometimes soft skills, construed as the heart, academic learning as the head, they go together. The heart, socio-emotional learning, can help the head. It provides a good infrastructure, skills like attention, focusing, problem solving, asking for help for academic learning. And we have evidence now that socio-emotional learning improves academic performance by 11 points, compared to kids who do not have socio-emotional learning. It's also important because socio-emotional learning, we have evidence now that it helps to promote pro-social behavior, and lessens antisocial behavior. So there is more like positive relationships in families, communities, even of different cultures, and also decreases antisocial behavior, depression, suicide. Just to mention, like suicide is one of the major causes of death among young people. Socio-emotional learning helps young people, to find meaning in their life and how to deal with anxiety and depression, for example. I have written, so what I'm doing to promote socio-emotional learning, both in my own country and international level. One of the things I have been involved in was the establishment of a European network of socio-emotional learning. We call it socio-emotional competence, but more or less we're talking more on the same lines at that time. This was established 10 years ago, called ANSEC. And we brought together like-minded people, both practitioners and academics, together in Europe especially, working in this area. And we are meeting every 2 years for an international conference. 2017, it's our 10th anniversary, and we are doing that conference on a cruise liner, but a small cruise liner. So, socio-emotional learning could also be fun. So that's one initiative I'm involved in to promote socio-emotional learning. I'm also the co-editor of an international journal of emotional education. Now it's in its 9th edition. So it helps to promote socio-emotional learning, both from the perspective of teachers, practitioners, what's happening in the classrooms. I am also engaged in various research projects to find what works and may not work in promoting socio-emotional learning in schools, and also a number of projects how to promote the mental health and well-being of children through school. And I have written a number of publications in the area. So one, I think, very relevant book is promoting socio-emotional education, we called it 2 years ago, in primary school. It's a Springer book which provides a framework for school how if they want to implement socio-emotional learning from A to Z, what they need to do, giving leeway for adaptation, of course, according to the needs of the school. The network was established 10 years ago because at that time, myself and my colleague, Paul Cooper, who was the co-founder with me, we thought there was a vacuum in Europe about people collaborating together, joining forces together to promote socio-emotional learning in our schools. And I think we have made good progress since then, but I think we still have a long way to go. One thing I would like, which hopefully I would like to see maybe in 10 years' time, would be that socio-emotional learning will be given the same priority in schools as academic learning. So it will sit head to head, side by side with academic learning, so that schools, stakeholders will realize that socio-emotional learning is as important as academic learning. We cannot go without one or the other. So my vision would be that, first of all, there will be a little bit more collaboration on a global level, because at the moment there are a lot of people, universities, agencies working, so maybe work more together collaboratively, also at a global level, to promote socio-emotional learning across the world, but giving space to individual countries, context, cultures to adapt it according to their own context. So this is where I think if we do that, we'll have a healthier society, we'll have also more harmonious communities, because socio-emotional learning also helps social cohesion, social inclusion, and we also become economically as well more productive as well. So, nobody would argue against this. So, for healthier citizens, happier citizens, and more productive citizens, more harmonious communities. SCL, it's not a magic bullet, but it leads us to those pathways. So I really hope that it will be taken seriously by states, and that the governments will invest enough adequate resources so socio-emotional learning could be implemented effectively in schools, because one of the issues is quality implementation. If teachers are not committed and convinced and supported to deliver socio-emotional learning programs, it may not work as it is expected to do.